Yo, 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 yo. What's going on? What's happening? What's popping? How we doing? How we feeling? We up in this thing here on this Sunday night. Impromptu pop-up live stream. What's going down? Let's start off and say, even though it's almost over, happy Mother's Day to any mother that will watch this broadcast. Happy Mother's Day to you. As we round up the weekend here, hope y'all had a great weekend. It's a very rainy Sunday in Georgia where I'm at. Very rainy. It's been raining essentially all day. Think it's gonna be raining for the next 2 days. So bunch of rain here today. It's gonna be a bunch of rain tomorrow, bunch of rain on Tuesday, so we're getting a rain in. The temperatures have have been a little bit lower also, so it's been a little cool breeze, to enjoy. That may be great to some, and some may like the more hot temperatures. But regardless, we are in this yet. You know what I mean? We in this thing, man. My weekend, yesterday, before we get into this Falcons news real quick, I'm not going to hold y'all long tonight. Yesterday, I had the privilege to attend Fort Valley State College's graduation ceremony. Shout out to the Valley. Shout out to the 478. Shout out to Fort Valley. But yeah, I attended their graduation ceremony. I have attended quite a few of Fort Valley's graduation ceremonies. I'll get into that in just a moment. But my youngest nephew, I have two nephews. My youngest nephew, he was commissioned into the military. He's going in as a second lieutenant. So he had his commission ceremony alongside the Fort Valley State graduation ceremony. So that was a very cool thing to see. I really enjoyed it a lot. Shout out to my nephew. I don't think he watches the show. He's a big time Falcons fan too. Big Falcons fan. But I don't think he watches the show, I think my live streams would probably go a little too far for him. He's only in his early 20s, so anything probably past 10 minutes, he probably ain't really studying it. But yeah, he got pinned, and that was real cool to see. So he's going to be stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. He'll be stationed in Kentucky for the next 4 years. Not sure when he's leaving. I'll actually have to ask him next time I do speak with him. But I wish him the very best of luck, much success on his upcoming next chapter in his life, So shout out to him for that. A little bit more about the graduation. And it's probably just that I'm starting to get like old. But I really enjoy going to those graduations. At this stage in my life, not trying to get too mushy on y'all, but y'all know me, I'm gonna keep it real. So this how I felt Saturday, so I'm gonna tell y'all how I felt Saturday. But it really warms my heart when I go to the graduation ceremonies and you listen to these young adults, very young adults, get their name called. They walk up there and they get their I was about to say diploma, but degree. They walk up there and they get degree. See, I never walked. I'm only a high school graduate. That's the furthest I went. But they get their degree. They walk up to the stage, and you hear their family members going crazy. And then lately I've got into this habit of once they call their name and the I guess the president or whoever hands them their degree, I'll watch them as they walk down facing the crowd, and I've noticed that I've been able to like look at their facial expressions and how proud these young adults are of themselves. You know, they're just basking in that moment. And I really enjoy seeing that. I really just enjoy seeing that look of them being proud of them. You know, the 3, 4, 5, 6, in some cases 7 years of dedication, hard work, discipline. It has all accumulated into one moment here at your graduation. You know, so some of them, they'll walk down those steps and they're smiling. Some of them, they'll do the little 2-step. You know, I saw, you know, a few ladies crying yesterday, and it's just beautiful to see. It's beautiful to see. So I enjoyed it. Now I enjoyed it yesterday because of the weather. They normally have it at Fort Valley State's football stadium, but they moved it into the basketball stadium yesterday because of the weather. But I really, really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Like I say, I've been to numerous amounts of Fort Valley State graduation ceremonies, and that's because my youngest sister, I have 2 sisters. Oldest, I'm the middle child. I got an older sister and a younger sister. My youngest sister has graduated twice from there. She got her bachelor's degree. I was there at that ceremony from Fort Valley, and she more recently, probably I think these last 2 years, she got her master's degree, and I was at that ceremony also. You know, so you know that this is probably like my 4th, I think, Fort Valley graduation. It was awesome, you know, very, very awesome. You know, I still remember. I kind of look at my younger sister in the scope of, you know, my younger child in a sense. I still remember the day that I dropped her off at college at Fort Valley. I still remember that. I took her to college. You know, I dropped her off. My mom didn't take her. My dad didn't take her. I took her. And I'm not, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that in a sense to say that my parents were not doing their job or their responsibilities, but I took her. You know what I mean? I took her. You know, Big Bro took her. And I still remember pulling up to Fort Valley. I had a what was I driving at the time? I think I had a white Impala, a white late model Impala. And you know, help her unpack all her stuff. You know, I carried all the heavy stuff upstairs. You know, she got her smaller bags, whatever. And I still remember looking over, looking over at her. You know, this is her first time leaving home for an extended period of time, of course. And I just remember looking at her. And I just saw a lot of nervousness in her. I saw a little bit of her being scared, her being uncertain. You know, I seen all of that in her. And I looked at her and I told her, I said, now, if you have any problems with any of these motherfuckers up here, you call me and I'll be up here pronto. I'm a phone call away. And that was the last thing I told her, you know, before we be able to do. And, you know, she went up to her campus, her room, whatever. But my older sister, she recently got her degree also. So my parents have 3 children. I'm the only child that are my parents' children that don't have a degree. So now I've been thinking like, damn, do I need to go get a degree? I don't want to be the only motherfucker, you know, that don't got a degree. So y'all let me know, do y'all think I should go get my degree in my mid-40s? Because my older sister got her degree. My younger sister got her degree. I'm the only knucklehead of my parents' children that don't have a degree. So do I need to go get my degree, or should I just say FTS, that degree, you know? But yeah, had a good weekend, man. Had a good weekend. Y'all know I have to tell y'all a little bit about what be going on in life a little bit. But let's get this show on the road, man. AJ Terrell, I was roaming these internet streets as I often do, right? And I seen AJ Terrell on the Water Boys show. Shout out to the Water Boys. They put some excellent Atlanta Falcons interviews / content out here in the Metasphere. They had AJ Terrell on here, and they talked about a lot of different stuff on the clip that I watched, but they got on the topic of Grady Jarrett. So what I want to do is I want to actually pull it up, and I want to look at that with y'all, and we react to it. We talk about it. So I want to bring it up and talk about it with y'all. Before we start hit the play on that, let's check out the comments real quick. Got my dog 330 in the building. What's happening with you? 3 says twin. Where have you been? Yo. Shout out to you, 330, man. I've been around, man. I know I ain't been on the channel as much lately, man, but I'm trying to get myself back to being more consistent, man. But I've been around. I've been doing very well. Been doing a lot of work, man. Keeping myself busy, trying to keep myself productive, man. So appreciate you coming through, man. Always good to have you in the house. We got my dog Jay Cooper's in the building. What's happening with you, Jay Coop? What's happening, my guy? Got our brother Antonio in the building. What's up, Antonio? What's good, Todd? Happy Mother's Day to all the baby mamas, and my outcast voice. I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. What's up, Antonio? Got our dog T Terry in the house. What's happening, T Terry? What's popping, player? Appreciate you coming in. Zigzag is in the building. Says, man, don't go get no degree. Go get a trade instead. I like that, Zigzag, man. Throw me some suggestions out there, man. Throw me some suggestions, bro. I'm open to advice. Always willing to listen. Always willing to learn, my brother. Antonio says, go get it, Todd. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. I like that, brother. I like that. But like I say, man, my parents got 3 kids. I'm the only MFer. Don't got a college degree, man. So, they done kind of mini motivated me a little bit. I don't want to be the only one. Like, God damn, y'all making me look bad. God damn, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but keep the comments coming, man. Let's jump into this AJ Terrell segment we're gonna look at, and this is courtesy of the Water Boys. I put their link in the description, so if you can check out the full video there, and also check out the other content on their channel as well. But yeah, let's get to it. Let's turn this down just a tad. Yeah, that's good. So this is AJ Terrell. Let's go. Oh, I clicked the wrong tab. There we go.
It hurt when the Falcons and him parted ways. As soon as it hit my phone, I think Raheem, our head coach, told me Grady won't be with us this year. Mm-hmm. I don't even think I texted the group chat back. I just went to his house trying to figure out what's going on. Like,
they just said, man, I didn't even text the group chat back. I hopped in the whip and I went straight to his house. So that was serious business to AJ Terrell. You can already tell by his tone, the tone of his voice. Like, I'm still not cool talking about this.
Like, me just knowing what he means to the defense. He one of the players, like, producing or not producing, the voice and knowing what he about.
He just said something very key. He's one of them players, if he's producing or not producing, pretty much he's the leader. He sets the tone. So if he ain't got a sack in the last 3 games, he still sets the tone. In other words, this is our OG. This is our OG. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. And that's a lot of times when you hear players, current players, former players, when they talk about that veteran leadership in the locker room, this is what they're talking about. This is what they're talking about when they talk about veteran leadership, how important, how critical that is. This is what they're talking about.
Is what make the Falcons would make Atlanta like the locker room different. I don't know how everybody, I'm talking about how I view it.
Yeah.
You know, he never really said much. He just did a lot by action. Whether it be on the field, off the field, he did a lot of action. A lot of being about it, a lot of example. He was always the example.
Yeah.
Anytime he spoke to the team, it was always everybody phone, listening, myself included. Like,
they gave him respect. He demanded respect. He earned respect. However you want to put that into a proper sentence or statement, that's what AJ is saying. Again, this is our OG. You know what I'm saying? This is the OG. When he speak, when he call a team meeting, he got everybody's attention. We put our phones on silent and we listen to what the OG say.
The role, when people say leadership, he was that guy for the Falcons. Him being gone is like, it hurt. Like I said, and it's
AJ said it hurt, but to be honest, AJ, I appreciate the transparency and you relaying how you feel, but you can actually look at AJ, even when he just put his head down there. You can listen to the tone, the tone of his voice. He's hurt. It hurt him. He's still hurt by it. You could just listen to him and tell. Look at his body language. Look how he's speaking. This is something that still bothers him. He's still bothered by this. He is still bothered by this.
Something that's I'm a little over it now, but I'm Maddie over there.
There we go. I'm a little over it now, but I'm Maddie over there.
In Chicago, for real, just off the strength of, you make it this far in the league. You don't think you think you're gonna retire wherever you at. You going on year.
Yeah, Grady got drafted in 15.
12. I don't know. One of them.
Yeah, he got drafted in 15.
But to not see him finish here is like, it's tough. I wanted to see it all the way through. And he told me he trying to do 15 years. So,
he say he trying to do 15 years in the league. 15 years in the league. Hopefully he'll make it. But yeah, that's AJ Terrell, man. One of our better defensive players. He has given his thoughts on Grady Jarrett. Technically being released from Atlanta, signing with Chicago. I keep repeating it, man, but you could tell that this hurt him. This hurt him. He was shocked by this. As he said, he mad he signed with Chicago or he's playing with Chicago. Let me restate that. I know he's not mad. He signed and put him and his family in a better position, but he's mad that he's not playing with Atlanta. He's mad that going forward on Sunday, Big 97, that locker won't be in it there anymore. That presence of the OG won't be there anymore. The voice of reason that he's come accustomed to these last 6 years since he's been in the NFL will no longer be there. It bothers him. And like AJ said, a lot of times when you have that veteran leader in the locker room, you have that quote unquote OG in the locker room, they may not always be productive, but they are productive. Let me say that again. They may not always be productive, but they are productive. That's the leader. That's the OG. That's the heart of the team. That's why they are so important on all levels of football. All levels of football, you have to have strong leadership in that locker room. All levels. You can go as far down as middle school, high school, college, pros, everywhere. Even in, I'm sure, rugby, man, you need that veteran presence in the locker room. And AJ is telling us that we pretty much lost ours. So it is bothersome. It hurt him. You know what I mean? So again, this we're reacting from the Water Boys on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description, so y'all make sure to go check them out. You know, I just wanted to react to that because for the first time that I can recall, we really got somebody that sat down and talked about how they feel about, you know, AJ leaving. So I wish Grady the best, man. Wish him the very best for Chicago. I wish things could have ended a little differently in Atlanta, but hey, that is the business, man. That's the straight business of it. Let's see what else. Like, what did y'all think about before we go to our next thing? What did y'all think about that? Let me know what y'all think. Jay Coop says, zigzag, I'm in the union now, becoming a plumber. Shout out, hey man, you make a lot of money, man. Oh, you say you're becoming a plumber, so you will soon make a lot of money. Yeah, I actually just paid. I got a guy like who do a lot of work for me. Like if I need some work done on my house, anything in my house, I call him. Or like, you know, because like my job, the work I do, I work in real estate. So if I got somebody that, let's say if I got a house under contract, I need something done to it, I'll call him and he'll come do it. But anyway, I just called him over and he put a new, damn, I lost my train of thought. New faucet. And I think you're saying that right, faucet sink in one of my bathrooms, because I had got what I had in there before, it was very, very old and it started to leak, you know, and it just kept leaking and kept leaking and kept leaking. And I'm cheap as hell. I kept putting it off. I'm like, man, I just gotta buy another one. And I hit him up and I was like, hey man, how much you'll charge me to do this for me? He gave me a price. He said, you know what, Tidy, you know, since you, you know, you've always, you know, had business for me, here go my price, and I got a faucet that I'll bring to you, and that way you ain't gotta buy one. But I went and bought one anyway, because the way I saw it, like, if I'm gonna pay you labor to replace an old one, I don't want to put an old one back on. So I went to Home Depot and I just bought one up there, and I bought another one. Shout out to John with eye test in the building. What's going on with you, John? Speaking of OGs, that's one of our OGs right there. Shout out to you, John Harris with the eye test. Says, what up? What's happening, John? And y'all make sure that y'all follow my OG, John Harris. Not follow. Subscribe to John and also Winston at the eye test. Also, every Wednesday at 10 p.m. live show. Great content. So make sure that you do tune in this upcoming Wednesday. Coop says, that's deep, AJ. Yeah, it was pretty deep. Definitely was pretty deep. Zigzag says, go become an electrician. Man, you trying to give me something. You got to be smart, man. I'm not that smart, bro. I'm not that smart, man. You got to give me some dumb man work. I got a job interview tomorrow to build electrical. Hey, man, best of luck. Best of luck with the interview tomorrow, Zigzag, man. You got it. You gonna nail this interview. You know what I'm saying? I already feel it. I already got the feeling you're gonna do it, man. So, you know, it's coming. Shout out to you, Greg, in the house. What's going on with you, Greg? What's happening, man? What's going on? 404 Sports in the building. Shout out to 404 Sports. He the veteran now. Yes, you're right. He the veteran now. It's just like at the end of Juice when I forgot his name, but when Omar Epps, when Omar Epps and Tupac had that scene when Tupac fell off the building and Omar Epps was walking back into the building, the buddy said, hey man, you got the juice now. AJ, you got the juice now. You guys like Jesse Bates, y'all are now the OGs. Y'all are not the OGs. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are the OGs. So you were absolutely correct. Got our brother James Holloway in the house. What's going on with you, James? So shout out to the kings and queens. Appreciate you coming in as usual, brother. I hope everything going good with you tonight. Tonio says torches were meant to be passed. So next man up. All generals started out as a lieutenant. Facts on top of facts. Facts on top of facts. That's that natural progression. So you were absolutely correct. Well said. Coach in the building. What's going on with you, Coach? Good to see you, brother. Coach, it's good to see you, brother. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms here and to all of you mothers out there that you can hug and those that are rested in peace. Yes, and also well said, Coach. Everyone, all the mothers that are resting in peace. You know, we wish them a happy Mother's Day as well. You know, if your mom is here, you know, definitely reach out to her, call her, hug her, whatever you got to do. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights says, hey, everyone, happy Sunday to you also. Daniel, appreciate you coming in, my friend. But yeah, so let's go to the next thing we got on the docket, man. Let's jump to some Raheem Morris news. Raheem Morris did a press conference recently, I think about 2 or 3 days ago. Speaking about the rookie minicamp, you know, let's just dance through this a little bit. Let's hear what Coach Heem got to say about rookie minicamp.
You know, Jalen Walker, I don't have to go look at him in this right here. This is about catching him up and getting him caught up to speed with our guys, so he's ready to go and know how we do things and get our chance for our performance team to get their hands on him. So to get get hands on him, our nutritionist and Benji, you know, Jake Fowl, all of those guys, they're people to get hands on our rookies, get hands on our guys that are be coming here and that we know we drafted and things of that nature. But you really want to see the tryout guys, see how they move, see how they compare. Be able to get with your group of people that you assign to watch those groups, whether you're talking about scout from Terry's side or you're talking about coaching on our side. Find out if there's anybody that you want to add or acquire to your football team and really be locked and focused on those things.
Day one of school, just kind of let him know where you be and this is how we do things, more of education.
It is more player education. I've been kind of treating the whole offseason that way, even with our guys, you know, like because it just goes to a different level of training. So even with our guys, it's been more player education with our tendon and tissue growth and the things that we want to do there as far as things that we
tendon and tissue growth. What is you talking about, Raheem? Did I not pay attention to the tendon and tissue growth? What is he talking about?
Talk about from a science perspective. But with these guys, it's just letting them know what we talk about, how we do it, and really giving them a bunch of information, not to overload them, but to really let them know that we put some thought behind it. So these guys can have some real awareness on how you want to go about business. It's like you're saying, the first day of school, you acclimate somebody to your program. You want people to be in there. You want those guys to have a chance.
Raheem, when you're looking at these tryout guys, are you mindful of certain skills and qualities that you want to add to your roster, or is it really just anybody who flashes and pops? You know,
there is some number status to that, Will. When you talk about where you're at, and you guys, Will, you know how we kind of handle our preseason stuff, so we'll have a similar format to how we handle preseason, and you know that won't change unless something happens drastically that we want to change that. But we got to have guys that can go out.
So that means we will not see preseason. We will not see our starters in preseason. Raheem said as long as he's the head coach, his starters will not play preseason football, which is something that I've been thinking about lately, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Excuse me. Do you think Kirk Cousins will be playing a significant amount of preseason snaps now, since Michael Penix, of course, won't be playing? I mean, conventional wisdom would say, yeah, being that he is the backup, but he's a veteran. He's highly paid. And I kind of think the Falcons want to still keep him as a bait piece, a trade bait piece. You know, somebody needs a quarterback before the trade deadline, like New Orleans. Their quarterback just retired on them. So do you not want to put Kurt out there and risk him getting injured and now you can't trade him? You know, or do you have that much respect for Kurt that you just simply don't put him out there in the preseason? You know, that makes me think that's probably why we signed another quarterback the last few weeks. You know, maybe stick him out there. Hey, man, you take the bulk of these preseason reps so Kirk Cousins don't have to play. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Does Kirk play in the preseason? And hell no, he ain't playing.
They're compete at those positions, and when you look at your board, you can look at a couple guys where you'll need some people. So it's a better opportunity for some than others. Then there's others that you just think about because of Ryan Pace and how he goes about it with his staff, that you're constantly grinding your roster, the bottom end of your roster throughout the season, and those guys can potentially have a chance to come back. So that kind of fires you up as well.
Coach, has there ever been a point, I know it's so early in the process, like right after the draft, but in your career, have you ever noticed any particular player that just immediately popped out and eventually obviously would go on to have a pretty good career?
That's funny. Clifton Smith ended up being our Pro Bowl punt returner in Tampa. You know, Taylor Gabriel was a walk-on in Cleveland that we ended up getting in 2016 and became our starting G in the Super Bowl. There's just been so many guys that I didn't know Taylor Gabriel was a walk-on in that sense.
Was not aware of that. Like Raheem just talked about, he was a very big part of this team in 2016, man. He was a very big part. Turbo Taylor. I really enjoyed watching that guy play football.
They kind of jump off the tape when you get a chance to watch those guys, even a rookie, like that was just a tryout and an undrafted free agent that you just mentioned. But it's so many guys that's kind of jumped off that way that you kind of felt like he's going to make the team. You know, our starting nickel in Super Bowl season also was an undrafted free agent out of the University of Florida. And we got a chance to get those guys, and those guys jump off the tape pretty early. And you don't know how much they're going to contribute, but you got a feeling that they got a very good chance if they remain healthy and able to go through the process and pick it all up, that they'll have a chance to make the team. And then once that happens, you get a chance to get those guys out there and really go. A crazy stat is that 11% of the starters in the National Football League are undrafted free agents. So,
damn, I didn't know that. 11% of the starters in the National Football League are undrafted free agents. That's a pretty high number. So that means a little bit more than 1 out of every 10.
I thought that was a pretty cool stat to give those guys last night, to let those guys know that everybody's got a chance, and it's a chance to put your best foot forward.
Coach, you talk about, the chance of those guys making that particular roster. So how do you all go through the selection process, or in the conversation that you have with guys? Obviously, UDFAs, they have the choice to pick what team they want to go to. So how do you all handle those conversations when you're going through that selection process?
We had a very select group of guys this year, in particular. Terry, I think he said to these guys the 8th round like 19 times to you guys as we came down here to talk, doing one of those processes that when he was lead dog and everything and talking about it all.
When he was lead dog and everything. One thing that has become pretty abundantly clear to me in regards to Raheem and Terry, Terry is really running the personnel department of this team. Raheem has told us dozens of times without saying it directly, but anytime a question or a scenario about personnel comes up, he always brings up Terry lead off, Terry doing this, Terry and his guys, Terry this, Terry and his guys. So unlike the dynamic that we had with Terry and Arthur Smith, where I really think that was a combination of both of these guys making personnel decisions, I strongly believe Terry Fontenot is probably at least at the very minimum 75% the main guy, the decision maker when it comes to personnel currently on this team. And again, I'm just going by everything that Raheem is saying, and also in a sense, everything Terry is saying. I do remember when Arthur Smith was here, he would tell you, we work as a team, or I forget, what's that corny word that the Falcons love to use? I'll forget it. But anyway, Arthur Smith would always tell you, hey, man, this we work as a duo, collaborative effort. But now Raheem always goes to Terry. So that's something I have picked up on.
But it was true. It was we held true to it. When the draft ended, we were able to immediately be able to contact some of those guys and talk about the fit, what we had done in the draft currently, what we currently have on our roster, the competitive advantage that they can have potentially coming here, being able to explain some of those things. And then if you need to, being able to add, whether you add a Zach or you add a Jeff Olberg or you add even Marquise Williams to those conversations, to be able to let those guys know where they can fit. And it just goes further down the list when you're talking about their position coaches and things of that nature, and the evaluation that we had on those guys and some of those type of things. And these guys are smart. So they definitely do a little bit of numbers game with their agents and able to go back and look at who we took, what we drafted people at. And it's the reason you're able to get a guy like Kobe. We didn't take an outside corner in the draft, and it's a guy that you can go and sit down and talk with and really talk about it, convince him to come in here, having a great opportunity to go out there and compete to be the best version of himself.
Looking at the edge room, looking at the edge room, Coach, just want to ask, it seems like it's been crowded, and there are only a certain amount of snaps that are available for those guys. Was that intentional to kind of get that, to bring the level of defense that you wanted to be this year in 2025?
He's not here today, but normally I get beat up all year about not getting sacks, and that's got to change. And the only way you can change that is to change that.
Oh, I like that, Raheem. I like that, Raheem. The only way you can change that is to change that. Point blank, period. The only way to change that is to change that. I like that quote, man. Let's go back and listen to that part again. Let's hear
Trying
it.
to get that to bring the level of defense that you wanted to be this year in 2025.
He's not here today, but normally I get beat up all year about not getting sacks, and that's got to change. And the only way you can change that is to change that. And that was a part of the process. Very intentional, going out and trying to fix the edge room, and it's very intentional to go out and fix our rush to find another Terryism to find pressure players. And it was very intentional to be able to do that.
Again, when he goes to talking about personnel, another Terryism. This is what Terry is saying when he's looking for guys. This is what Terry is saying. This is what Terry is doing. This is what Terry is saying. So I strongly believe, again, unlike the Arthur Smith days of the Falcons, I fully believe that Terry Fontenot is operating in a fashion of more of an old school traditional general manager in the sense of the personnel. That does not mean that he can walk into Arthur Blank's or Raheem Morris's office on Monday morning and tell him you're fired. I don't think he had that kind of power, but in a sense of personnel, I'm the general manager. I'm making the decisions. You tell me what you want from the grocery store. I'll go up and I'll do the shopping. You can cook the groceries, but I'm going to shop for the groceries. So that's what I strongly believe. Now, I don't think that dynamic was there at all with Arthur and Terry and Rich McKay in the fold. Can't forget about a Rich.
We was able to do that in the first round with those two guys that we were to add there, to be able to get those guys going, to be able to add Leonard Floyd within free agency, to do some things there, to add three guys that were not here last year that you expect to have significant roles in your pass rush and your pressure players.
To get a guy like Kobe undrafted and get his resume coming from college, I'm kind of excited where you are.
Kobe is like the most famous undrafted player I've ever been around. I mean, my kids know him. It's unbelievable, all the stuff that he has in the accolades. But when you go back and watch the tape, you're not shocked that he's well known and the amount of and the players that he's played against and the guys that he's able to go compete against. When you watch his tape, is exciting. And we were fortunate enough to be able to bring him here on a 30 visit and to get a chance to meet with him and get around him and really find some real interest and be able to grow. And then when it came down to that, let's call it what it is, the recruiting process at the end of the draft, when it was over, that was something that was really exciting for me because I had a real clear vision and was able to really speak to him in a real clear fashion because I had watched the tape. I'd been around him. I knew what he can do. I knew what he was capable of. And whoever we were competing with, basically didn't have a chance.
Rob, when do you give you guys the playbook and when's your expectation? Maybe you know it by heart.
It's hard to say no by heart. Nobody knows it by heart. Nobody knows it like that. Those are dangerous words in the National Football League. I got it. And you try to stay away from those things. It's the constant grind. I remember being around Derek Brooks for whatever it was, man, the amount of years he was in the National Football League, and he still wrote in the top of his page every time we went to an install was over two. And he wanted to talk about over two and what his fits for. And he kind of shook his head and went along with it like he was a rookie every time we did the install. And I knew he was thinking, why am I doing this again? But it was the constant thing that we learned. He learned to love the mundane. He loved the grind. And that's just something that these guys got to be accustomed to doing. So you get better and better, and then you find ways to make plays that you're able to make. And I think we got some guys in here. We got, make no mistake about it. We're going to have some real intentionality of playing our rookies this season and getting those guys in the grass and giving them an opportunity to play a significant amount of football for us. And we really look forward to that.
Okay. So Raheem, letting you know off top, hey man, we're going to be intentional in playing our rookies. We did not take a guy in the first round at 15 to put him on the bench. We did not trade up back into the first round to take a guy, I think, at number 26 and James Pierce Jr. to put him on the bench. All these other guys, Xavier Potts, and hey, y'all playing. So get ready. Y'all are playing. So looking forward to this year coming up with our rookies on defense. We'll be able to do for the Falcons. But that was Raheem Morris. I think we'll cut it at that. Y'all make sure to go check out the Falcons on YouTube. I'm just joking, man. I'm sure everybody who's watching is probably already following the Falcons on YouTube. But that's Raheem Morris. And speaking of the rookies, let's talk a little bit real quickly about one of our rookies, Jalen Walker, the Falcons' first pick of the 2025 NFL Draft. University of Georgia standout. He wore number 11 at Georgia, and he's wearing number 11 for the Falcons. Now, let's get into this real quickly. We all know number 11, Julio Jones, the great Quintorius Lopez Jones. He made that number famous in Atlanta. You know, as a lot of our fans will say, that's Julio's number. Julio Jones, make no mistake about it, Jack. Julio Jones made number 11 famous and legendary in Atlanta. Let's make no mistake about that. No mistake about that. Now, when it was announced that Jalen Walker was wearing a number, I noticed there was a little bit of a tizzy. About it, man. I saw people on social media. Hey, man, how you gonna give Julio Jones number 2 a rookie? How y'all gonna do Julio like that? Man, what's wrong with the Falcons? The Falcons, man, they don't. That's the typical Falcon stuff. They just gonna give Julio Jones number away to a rookie. You know, I saw people that they were real outspoken about that, man. You know, me being a Falcons fan, I knew, you know, a lot of the people who were talking, I noticed, and props to the Falcons fan base, because most of this noise I heard came from some in the national media and other people who are just not Falcons fans. So me being a Falcons fan, just like I'm sure a lot of y'all knew already, well, one, the Atlanta Falcons don't officially retire numbers, man. We don't. You know, they may tell you that you can't wear a certain number, but they don't officially retire a number. You go to the Georgia Dome. Well, you can't go to the Georgia Dome. It's gone. But if you went to the Georgia Dome, you go to the bins. There's nobody's jerseys that's hanging up in the bins. We don't retire numbers. We have a ring of honor. You know, that's our ceremony to showcase and to appreciate the legends of the past. We put them in the ring of honor. We don't retire nobody number, man. We don't do it. So as a Falcons fan, I knew that. I also knew as a Falcons fan, I'm like, look, y'all a little bit late with your outrage. Y'all a little bit late with your outrage, because they done gave that number out already. You know, y'all who don't follow the team, y'all didn't know that Logan Woodside was rocking number 11. He got that number. Y'all didn't know that, you know, the back, you know, what, third string quarterback, I think he was, the emergency quarterback. Y'all didn't know that man was rocking number 11, you know, for a whole season. You know, y'all didn't know that they issued that number out of Emory Jones too. Somebody else rocked that number the year after Julio left. I don't know if he stayed with the team a long time. His name escapes me. But they've been dishing that number out, man. They've been dishing it out. And another thing, you know, I gotta say it, man. Julio Jones don't show love. He don't show love to the Falcons. He don't show love. Period. Now, I don't think the Falcons will let anybody wear number 2 anytime in the near future. I don't foresee that happening. I could be wrong. I think they're gonna be a lot more reserved with Matt Ryan's number. And I don't say that because I think, and I said this on Facebook already, I don't say that because I think Matt Ryan was a better football player than Julio, because he wasn't. Julio Jones was a better wide receiver than Matt Ryan was a quarterback. I'll repeat that. Julio Jones was a better wide receiver than Matt Ryan was a quarterback. I said that on Facebook, and people want to argue that against me. I'm like, look, bro, I'm just being real. Julio Jones was a better wide receiver than Matt Ryan was a quarterback. Hey, get mad at me if you want to, but I'm telling you how I tell it. But the difference is Matt Ryan shows love. Matt Ryan shows love. You hear Matt Ryan on national, he works in national media now. Hey man, I love the Falcons. You know, Falcons this, Falcons that, Falcons. Hey, Falcons my squad. Forever I love Atlanta. You know, after when he got traded from Atlanta, he put out this thing on his social media where you could tell he spent a lot of time and money into. When he officially retired from the NFL, he put this thing, got dedicated to the Falcons. You could tell he spent a lot of time and put some money into. When Julio Jones announced his retirement, he did not even mention the Falcons by name officially. Yeah, I'm doing this for 404 day. You know, this for the fan. You know, I'm doing this on 404 day for the, you know, for the people. You know, that's why I'm doing it today. I'm doing this for the fan. Man, thank the Falcons, bro. You ain't got to be that petty, Jet. You ain't got to be that petty. You ain't got to be that bitter, Jet. You ain't got to mention. If you went off the blank, even though I think at this point, you beefing with Blank. I don't think Blank beef with you. You beefing with Blank. So now that you still got a beef with Blank, bro, you ain't got to mention off the Blank name. But hey, man, I want to thank the Atlanta Falcons for drafting me back in 2011, believing in me, you know, giving me the opportunity to change my life, to change my family's life for generations to come. That's it. Say the name, Jet. You just being petty, bro. You come on, bro. But Julio don't show love. Matt Ryan still show love. Matt Ryan said, hey, man, I'll volunteer my time to come help mentor Michael Penix because I want to see the best for this franchise. I want the best for the Falcons. Look, I'm sorry. We couldn't beat Tom Brady in that Super Bowl, but I want this next young guy. I want Penix to do for the Falcons what I couldn't do against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. So any game, any insight that I can get this young man, I'm gonna do it. So I feel like the franchise, they value their relationship with Matt Ryan a lot of differently than they do with Julio's. They're not finna give some backup Matt Ryan's number 2 jersey. I don't think they will, you know, but the Falcons are a prize in a heartbeat. I say that now, and then tomorrow they'll put it out something on Instagram. You know, Kobe Bryant is wearing number 2. But anyway, man, like that's what it is, man. Like, man, a relationship ain't a one-sided thing. A relationship goes both ways. You know, and I saw when Julio did retire, I saw the Falcons what they did on social media. The Falcons showed Julio so much love on social media, and don't get me wrong, he deserved it. He deserved it. Without a doubt. One of the top 3 players to ever put on a Falcons jersey. You know, he deserved it. But after a while, I got the sense that they went overboard with it to try to mend the relationship with Julio. I know when Matt did retire, they spent maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 days, and they was on something else on social media. When Julio retired, they gave him a whole full week of number Julio Jones stuff. It got to the point, I know he retired 1 week, and then they were still talking about it the next week. It got to the point I'm looking at their Instagram page like, damn, bro, like, all right, y'all, let's go and move past this. You know what I'm saying? Y'all about 7 days in, and y'all still showing Julio Jones career highlights. Let's move past this at this point. But that's what it is, man. Like, Julio don't show love, man. I mean, that's as real as I could keep it. Julio Jones don't show love. He don't show love, and and Julio is really like, since Blank has owned this team, Julio is really the only player that I can recall that has had like a issue with the owner that I can recall. You know, I'm not saying it hadn't happened, but the only guy that we hold in high esteem that I can recall. It might be somebody that I'm not thinking about. I'm not talking about somebody who just came and then left after a year or two. I'm talking about one of our guys, a Roddy, a Matt, a Michael Vick, one of our guys, even a John Abraham, somebody that was here for a long period of time and did a lot for the franchise. He's the only one. So it is what it is, man. To me, personally, when people be asking me like, "Hey, man, why y'all, y'all should retire Deion jersey, man. Y'all need to retire Vick jersey, man. How y'all let Young Way Cool, a kicker, get Vick jersey, man? How y'all let that boy from Georgia get Julio jersey, man? Y'all need to retire that jersey." I'll be honest with y'all. My personal opinion, don't retire nobody damn jersey. To me, only champions deserve to be immortalized. You want your jersey retired? Well, win a Super Bowl. That's the easiest way, in my opinion, to get your jersey retired. Win a Super Bowl, yeah. Then we can talk about retiring some jerseys. But we retire no jersey for nobody who ain't won the biggest on the biggest stage, the big dog trophy. I'm not with that. Just like I think only champions deserve statues, unless there's some type of special circumstance at play. Unless there's a special circumstance at play. Outside of that, man, it shot all these numbers. It shot number 2, number 11, number 7, number 84. Y'all saw what Roddy said when Cordell Patterson, got 84. Roddy said, "Hey, man, it's just a number. It's just a number." So I'm not retiring nobody's jersey who ain't won no Super Bowl for this franchise, man. Let these boys wear these jerseys. Who knows? Maybe Jalen Walker will get the game-winning sack in Super Bowl 60 to win the Falcons that first ever Super Bowl. Will you still be saying that's Julio Jones' jersey then? No. So let him wear it. Maybe Bijan Robinson in the fourth quarter with only 18 seconds left takes a touchdown for 6 yards to clinch the Super Bowl for the Falcons. Will you still be saying, "Hey, man, that big jersey"? No, you won't. Win something noteworthy, then we'll talk about retired jersey. And that go for everybody, from Vic to Deion to Matt to Julio to whoever. Only champions deserve to be immortalized. We're gonna immortalize nobody for consistently losing. No. Set higher standards. I know we're the Falcons and I know our history, but no. Why retire jersey for somebody who's just been doing a bunch of losing? Why? Speaking of Michael Vick, speaking of Mr. Michael Vick, shout out to Vick. He recently did an interview with 680 The Fan. He spoke a little bit about the Falcons also. And I want to listen to that also. I have listened to this entire interview. Most of the interview wasn't even about the Falcons. It really was about him being a head coach now in Norfolk State. I think that was the bulk of the interview was about that. But there was some segments there where he talked about Atlanta or something Falcons related. So we'll take a little bit of time. We're gonna check out what Mr. Vick is talking about.
I think you eventually find the product you're looking for.
Mike, it was cool to see you with Arthur Blank and Michael Penix down there at the golf league down there in Florida. What was that experience like? And then I want to ask you a question about our new quarterback, Michael Penix. So how was that? And how's your relationship with Arthur?
It's fun. It's always great to see Arthur.
How's your relationship with Arthur? It's fun. It's always great to see Arthur. And I'm not trying to come off as no Arthur Blank apologist. But you mean to tell me this guy who had Arthur Blank take him to court to try to get $30 million of bonus money back, he still can have a solid relationship with Arthur Blank and the Falcons, but Julio Jones can't? And in Julio's defense, because I don't want to seem like I'm beating up on Julio, but in his defense, there was time to heal for Michael Vick and Arthur Blank. So let me put that caveat out there. There was time to heal and let bygones be bygones. Julio really hadn't had that cool off period yet in his relationship with the Falcons owner. So I want to make that clear too. But let's keep going.
I see him and give him a big hug, and he'll drop a couple jewels, and he asks more about the family than he do about my life. But that's okay. That's the relationship, and I love him to death. And then to be able to see Michael hang with him for a minute a couple weeks ago, it's just good to see them together. And now looking at that, and I tell Michael, like, embrace all of this, everything that's around you, everybody in this organization. It's a cornerstone. It's gonna be a cornerstone for your success. And all you got to do is show up, listen, and be the best version of Michael Penix. And just in the short, man, I was able to enjoy that moment with Arthur because I see, just the personnel around and just how it's continuing to thrive.
Man, I love listening to Vic talk now, man. That he done hit his older years. He done hit his what I like to call silverback years. I call like your mid-40s. When you around your mid-40s or you in your mid-40s, I call that those are for a man. I can't speak for women. This is only for men. I call those your silverback years. Those are generally when your gray hairs start to really become a fixture. You get gray hair on your head, you get gray hair on your beard, you get gray chest hairs. I call them the silverback years. Just like in the wild, when a gorilla starts to get gray, silver hairs on his back, he is now known as a silverback gorilla. A lot of wisdom is associated with that. He's held to a higher esteem amongst his pack or his family. I just feel like those are the wisdom years for men. That's when we really start to gain our wisdom as men. You generally will start looking at the world differently. You'll see the world differently. You'll see people differently. Your mindset, your mentality, it all changes. That's when that wisdom starts to come in. Those silverback years, So I really, really thoroughly enjoy listening to Mike talking his silverback years. I enjoy it. I think about where he was when he was going through the dogfight ordeal, and now look at him now. When you're talking about a comeback story, a redemption story, Michael Vick is a person you can look at and you can go study, because this man has been nothing but an outstanding citizen, outstanding person, an outstanding role model since he went through, his trials and tribulations when he was with Atlanta. But look at him now. Look at him now. Shout out to Vic.
Brock Bowers here for Associated Credit.
Dang, I brought up a commercial. Let's go through this.
Since I was a kid, I dreamed of playing for .org/pro.
Baseball. It's the Brew Forrester Boulevard in Duluth.
Come on.
Too funny. Well, how are you recruit in Atlanta? The athletes in Atlanta that are, there's a bunch of them down here, and a lot of them anymore these days, especially out of high school, are having a tough time with the transfer portal and NIL and everything else, getting into these big schools. Will you make Atlanta a focal point for your recruiting ground?
Absolutely. And I feel like the relationships will be there. I'm coming to Atlanta to get some of the best kids around. Real quick, my quarterback, my third team quarterback, he's from Atlanta, and then I have a receiver from Atlanta. And I was just talking to somebody about, his name is Shane, this morning, and just trying to get him on the right track. But I feel like college football now, the young man.
Okay, we're gonna jump past that. He's gonna talk about his team a little bit. Let's jump and go try to catch some Falcon stuff.
Allen, and you can get with him, and anything you need, he's always gonna be there. So I'm always thankful of that.
Mike Vick joins us here inside the locker room on the Loud Security Systems Newsmaker line. I was just got a text from a buddy, and he was talking. We talked about your kind of growth throughout your career in the NFL is pretty special, from Dan Reeves, kind of old school beat 'em up football, to the West Coast offense with Jim Moore Jr., and then all the way up to some more West Coast with Andy Reid and that creativity that he had. What do you think it would have been like if, in fact, you got a chance to play with a head coach like Bobby Petrino and the offensive mind that he was?
Oh, man. You know, a funny story, I tell everybody this because it meant a lot to me. You remember Hugh Jackson was our offensive coordinator.
Yep.
And coming out of that spring, I was going through so much from a mental standpoint. Like, the only thing that made me happy was being in that locker room and being with you guys. I was committed to changing. You know, I was moving my family down to Atlanta. All these things I was trying to do that I was about to do, it was just a little too late. I locked in, I focused.
He's saying, look, I was making the changes that I needed to make to be a better person, a better man, a better teammate, a better quarterback, a better leader. But a little bit too late. And that's real unfortunate, man. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Because we all know what could have been if, you know, what happened with Vick in Atlanta didn't happen. But it happened, you know. Nothing, you know, you can't change that.
On football, I tried to become a better teammate and a better player. And at the end of that camp, Hugh Jackson told me that and Bobby Petrino, they set me down in the office and they said, you keep it up, you're going to be the league MVP this year. And what it really took, you might not remember this because you probably was running down the field. When Bobby first came in, we was in practice. We was doing like a walkthrough, and I wasn't taking the walkthrough serious. Probably was just being me. And he just snapped on me in front of everybody. And it was embarrassing, but at the same time humbling. And right then and there, I knew I wasn't above nobody within that organization. And that's when I changed.
That's a story I like to hear, even though, you know, I'm not a fan of Petrino based on how he left the team. But I do like the fact that he was willing to not coddle Michael Vick. Excuse me. To hold him responsible. Like, look, you the starting quarterback, you the superstar, you the most popular, you one of the most popular athletes in the world, you know, football aside. But listen, man, you know, we need you to lead. You got to set the standard. You the guy. So if I see you goofing off and you ain't taking it serious, I'm going to call you out just like I would call out the third string quarterback, bro. Nobody bigger than the program. I love to hear stories like that because, again, he's holding Vick responsible. And I really think that's where a lot of wrong with the Falcons and Vick is Vick was so accustomed to being coddled in Atlanta from the owner. You know, started up top with Arthur Blank and Jim Moore Jr., you know. From Vick's own words before, you know, Dan Reeves was very disciplinarian on him. He was hard on him, you know, and it looked like we were about to get another coach who was going to be hard on Vick and not let Vick run wild and do what he wanted to do. So I really like to hear stories like this. I also remember Roddy White saying something like this on the interview years ago. Like, man, when Petrino first came and he started letting us see the kind of offense we were going to be running, I remember Roddy saying something to the extent of like, man, we were finna be a crazy good offensive team. You know, Roddy was like, man, this offense was going to be crazy with Petrino. I remember Roddy White saying something very similar to what Vick is saying right here. So, man, if that situation with the dogfight stuff don't happen, who knows what could have happened for the Falcons.
And that's when something hit me. But, man, like that season was going to be an amazing season. I felt like I was growing. I was in my 7th season. And, you know, you're at that point where you contemplating, like, do I want to stay in Atlanta? Should I go to another? You know, the media, everything starts to get to you at some point. And so, but I locked in and I was laser focused because I was like, if anything make me happy in my life is being in this building. And I felt like that for the first time in a long time since I first walked in that building. So, yeah, man, we was about to do it up, fam, man. You know,
No doubt.
Do it up.
No doubt.
Mike Vick joining us here in the locker room on the Fan 680 93.7 FM. Coach, you said something earlier about you being an introvert, and there's the assumption.
Okay, let's jump past that. I think you got one more piece where he speak about the Falcons. Let's fast forward to that.
Try again and try again and try again until, the trust factor is there, and eventually it'll come around. It'll come around.
We were talking today, Julio Jones' number 11 is going to be worn by Jalen Walker. You obviously were iconic in number 7 here in black. How did it feel, or how do you feel about seeing other guys? I know Bijan's wearing it now. Younghoe Koo had worn it. But the first time you saw somebody else wear a 7 Falcons jersey, what were your feelings?
It made me cringe.
Totally.
He said it made me cringe.
Yes.
I was like, oh, okay. Younghoe Koo, keep kicking them. As long as they keep going through the upright. I know when Terry called me, it was like, they called him. It's like, Bijan want to wear your jersey. I was like, y'all sure y'all want to take it away from Younghoe? You sure? Because he's making everything. He's making everything. It's going through. You might not want to jinx that, but yeah, man. Now just watching Bijan with the jersey on, like it gives me joy. It takes me back every time I see him, especially in the black jersey, making the move and running. I feel like I'm looking at myself, but I'm like, damn, he play running back, which is, and he's so good, and just he's the type of Falcon that needs to be there for 10 years. He's a great leader off the field. He's even better on the field, and he's just a complete player, man. You meet that guy, he's like, yo, I pray my son grow up to be like him.
Profound word. I pray my son to grow up to be like him. So that really says a lot about the type of person that Bijan is, and I know we done heard that since they drafted Bijan. Like he's just a very good person, And Vic speaking on jersey numbers, he said he cringed a little bit when Koo got the number. Once Bijan got the number, it brought back memories of him back when he played for the Falcons, some of the moves that he makes. He also said that Bijan Robinson needs to be here for at least 10 years, which I do agree with. He's a very special player, a great leader, so those are very high praises from the most popular and the most legendary Falcon of all time thus far. So shout out to Vic, man. It's good to hear that interview. Speaking of Vic, we got one more segment before I get out of here, y'all. Speaking of Michael Vick, there has been I want to say a meme or a viral topic revolving around Michael Vick. It's start, bench, cut. And the 3 quarterbacks that's are start, bench, or cut are Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, Cam Newton. Start, bench, or cut. And y'all let me know in the comments, what would you do? Lamar Jackson, Cam Newton, Michael Vick. And all of them in their prime. We're looking at everybody in their prime. And I get it. Lamar is still in his prime. So but all of them in their prime. You start one, you cut one, you bench one. Put it in the comments and let me know what y'all think. But Cam Newton, the viral topic actually got to Cam Newton's doorstep, and he spoke on it also. So I want to pull up what Cam had to say. Give me a second. Let me get to it. I thought I had it pulled up. I must have exited out of it by mistake. But give me a second. Let me pull it up. And we're going to hear what Cam Newton had to say about it. And then we're going to get out of here. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all put that in the comment. Let me know what you would do for those 3 players. I'm trying to get back to Cam's podcast, so y'all pardon me. Again, I thought I had this pulled up. All right, there we go. So let's see what Cam has to say about it.
Say about Cam and the dual threat quarterbacks.
Start, bench, cut in their prime. Michael Vick, Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson.
I'm starting prime Lamar, benching.
You got to bench Vick.
I'm benching Vick, yeah. No. Whoa. I'm starting Lamar. I'm cutting Vick.
You cutting Vick?
I got Cam. I'm cutting Vick.
You terrific.
Now I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all. That's mine right there. That's my answer. I would start Lamar. I would bench Cam. And I'm sorry. I would cut Vic. And I know some folks gonna be upset with me, like, man, how you gonna say that? And you a damn Falcons content creator, bro. Like, what did you do? Like, I gotta be honest, man. I gotta be honest. I can't come on here and tell y'all no lies. I can't be fugazi with my opinion. But in much respect to the great Michael Vick, nothing but love from me. But all in their primes, starting Lamar, I'm going to bench Cam, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut Michael Vick.
You don't know how good Cam Newton was.
What are we talking about here? Starting Michael Vick, benching Lamar Jackson, cutting Cam Newton.
That's a Skip Bayless take, bro. Horrible take.
So then we got the Isaiah Standbacks top 5 dual threat QBs of all time. You got Michael Vick number 1, Lamar number 2, Cam Newton number 3, Randall Cunningham number 4, and Donovan McNabb number 5. Cam, what do you think about these when you end up on these lists?
Now, as cocky as and I say that respectfully, as cocky as Cam comes off, I'm just gonna play the tapes.
What do you think? And when people say start, bench, cut, how do you feel about the order?
The football player in me is going to ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the situation?
Elaborate on the situation.
Come on, Cam. Come on, Cam. Come on, Cam. You giving us that polished media answer. Come on, Cam.
There's a 4th and 1 on the goal line.
Hello!
Ain't no situation, Cam. You know what we asking. And all in y'all primes, who you gonna cut? Who you gonna start? Who you gonna pitch? Come on, Cam. You get political on me, Cam.
That was a lie.
I love me in any short yardage situation.
All right. Now
Gotta have a situation. A big play, Michael Vick.
Big over Lamar?
A big play, Michael Vick.
Boy said over Lamar. So Cam say, if I need a big play, I'm going with Vic. Okay.
Gotta have it like
game on the line. We going down the last drive.
Lamar. Because Lamar can see those.
Even though Cam is not giving a direct answer to me, that's the direct answer. If you say the game on the line and you say Lamar, to me, that's your answer. You were starting Lamar. Even though Cam kind of tap dancing, being political around the question, which is so unlike Cam. Cam is so outspoken and he always speak on everything, but he played the political on this one. But I'm taking that answer as he's starting Lamar.
Those are the situations that I asked.
Yeah.
Or I will put like Lamar with a big play, gotta have a situation, or I'll put Josh Allen.
So Josh Allen.
Cam, Josh is not even in the question, Cam.
And there's a dual threat, you said.
Yeah, but even Randall Cunningham is a.
All right, we're gonna cut that off. Cam is just adding people that we asked about. He done added Josh Allen. He done added Cunningham. Jay Coop says Vic starting, Jackson on the bench. And he gonna cut Cam. Atlanta Georgia Faithful. What's up, brother? Y'all make sure to check out ATL Georgia Faithful on YouTube. One of the great Falcons content creator. If you're not subscribed to his channel, make sure that you are subscribed. He says he's going to start Vic, bench Jackson, and cut Cam. Coach says Cam the only one who went to the Super Bowl. Cam's accolades are almost unmatched. I will say, and you are correct in saying that, I will say I don't know how it has been, I don't want to say forgotten, but it's probably not talked about as much as it should because they lost the Super Bowl that coach spoke about. But Cam's 2015 season, minus the Super Bowl loss, but Cam's 2015 season is one of the greatest quarterback seasons of all time. Now, if they had won that Super Bowl against, I think they played the Broncos, I think they played Denver, or was it Seattle? Von Miller, they played Denver. If they won that Super Bowl, that year would have went down as the greatest year for a quarterback in history. Maybe minus that year Mahomes had, I think, in 19, somewhere around there. But man, people don't talk enough about how dominant, how legendary Cam's 2015 season was, man. People don't talk about it enough. They do not talk about that year enough. And they should. They should. Coach also says start Cam, bench Vick, cut Jackson, as we see Jackson chokes year after year. I don't know if I would say that, Coach. One thing about Lamar, and this really is how great Lamar is. Lamar is only in what, year 6, year 7, I think. And the expectations for Lamar are already Super Bowl or bust. Already. He's not even in his 30s yet. But that lets you know how great Lamar Jackson really is. People already expect the Super Bowl after him. Whenever they lose in the playoffs, that's always the talk on social media and also in the national media for at least a week or two. Oh, Lamar Jackson failed to do it. People are already expecting him to win the Super Bowl. Normally, Super Bowl expectations don't come for a quarterback typically until they are like 30, 31, you know. But Lamar's been dealing with Super Bowl or bust expectations for like the last 3 to 4 seasons. So to me, that's really a testament on how great Lamar Jackson is. And with that said, y'all, I didn't want to make this too long. Shout out to everybody that came through in the chat, man. I'm about to get up out of here, man. Just want to come in and pop up real quick and do a quick show, which we did. I want to thank everybody that came through in the chat, man. I really do appreciate that. Thanks a lot. And you know, let's get this season on the road. We got a few more months. NBA basketball playoffs are currently going on now, but we almost here, y'all. It's already May. You know, it's already about mid-May. So before we know it, June gonna be here. Before we know it, training camp gonna be here. So I'm very, very excited, man. I'm always excited about Falcons football, even if I know we gonna be sorry. I still get excited, but I'm very excited this year. I think this could be a special season in a sense. It could be a stepping stone season to something very big coming in the next couple seasons. But again, I appreciate y'all, man. It's been real. Appreciate all the love. Your boy is out of here. Peace.